What's up, Game Boys and Girls? Big T here, back with another video. And in this video, we're going to talk about XBOTS and their continued disrespect of the greatness of Banjo Kazooie. Let's go. Yeah, so I guess ever since the acquisition way back when, 2002, when Microsoft acquired Rare, a lot of us Nintendo fans have been pretty salty about that. We don't know exactly what happened. I think it was mostly on Rare, where they kind of took the money and ran. I think some of the two founders of that development studio showed some regret, some remorse for doing that. But Rare hasn't really been Rare, I would say, since some people might disagree with me, but since like not Dinosaur Planet, but Star Fox Adventures. I think they started to fall off there. They lost a lot of people in the late 90s, maybe early 2000s, with the Free Radical people that went off and formed Free Radical Design. A lot of people left Perfect Dark to go off and do their own thing. So they've been a little bit different since then. That was disproportionate to Rare, but overall, to me, the quality of what Rare was kind of already waning, and I think Nintendo might have saw that, and that's why they just didn't really fight to keep them. Sadly, but I would have loved to have those IPs still with Nintendo. But ever since probably Nuts and Bolts came out, Banjo Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. Fans have been wanting a more traditional Banjo Kazooie, and we've been hoping that Microsoft would do something like that, because Microsoft really hasn't done anything with Rare IPs in a long time. They obviously did the Rare Replay, which was fantastic, and especially for the price. I think it was $30. They also did obviously, once they had Rare, they've done Nuts and Bolts, which a lot of fans didn't really like. It seemed like a decent game. Had some frame rate issues, but wasn't the Banjo Kazooie we wanted, right? And they passed off Killer Instinct to another studio, which that seemed to turn out pretty well. They're actually doing a 10-year anniversary version, and that's pretty cool. But as far as those kind of staple Rare IPs like Banjo Kazooie and whatnot, we haven't really gotten anything from Rare, and that's why Yooka-Laylee came along with Playtonic, former Rare developers. People got really excited about that, and so we've been kind of wanting Banjo Kazooie back. And there's been a pretty good amount of fans online who have expressed that, and I think Microsoft has seen it, and other Xbox fans have seen it. Xbox fanatics, if you will. And I don't think they like it. They're annoyed by it, and it really bothers me. Okay, so recently Phil Spencer said that there was some kind of legacy stuff that he would like to see happen. He said if he can find the right team, they would go into it. They're not just going to do a money play. We're going to do it just because we want to make money. And so I thought that was, that's pretty cool. You want somebody who has some energy behind it and really want to make the game themselves and not just be some kind of cash grab. And that's cool. To me, I'm cool with that. But I think a lot of fans, rightfully so, want Banjo Kazooie, because there's a lot of fandom behind that series. It is a great series. I remember Banjo Kazooie came out. It felt like you were playing a Saturday morning cartoon. I think it was Rare at their peak. The peak of their being. There was so much creativity in that game. The platforming is great. The characters were great. Obviously, Banjo and Kazooie, the lead characters. But you have Mumbo Jumbo, who did the transformations. It was a cool mechanic, cool gameplay gimmick, and just Gruntilda and the cartoony nature of, the cartoony fairy tale nature of those characters is just stood the test of time. People really love them. Myself, you can see just how much flavor there is in the box art itself. how Rare was just, they were firing on all cylinders with this game came out, and maybe you had to be there, I guess. But I think it's still a fantastic game to play right now. Rare replay, check it out. So you had Banjo Kazooie. I would say Banjo Tooie, because people get on it about being a collectathon and whatnot. Banjo Tooie was one it started to get really collectathon-y. The first one not so much, but more of this on the second one. They just Rare, they just like to expand and make things bigger and all that kind of stuff. You can see that in Ukulele as well, and I don't think it worked out as well for Ukulele, but it started to wane a little bit on even Banjo Tooie, which I think is not as good, but still very good. But it's not as well paced. It's not as well designed because it was just so big. They were trying to do too much, which is fine. I like the ambition. Rare was always a very ambitious company, but there's some really cool stuff in here as well. So I really love what they were trying to do with Banjo Tooie. And I think by the time they got to Donkey Kong 64, that's when the collector stuff came. Is crazy. Actually, I think Banjo Tooie came out after DK64. I think this came out in 2000. And let me take a look here. Let's see if it's on the back. I think 2000 came out in 2000, and Donkey Kong 64 came out in 99. But yeah, like these, I wanted to look them up. I'll put it on the screen. How much this franchise sold, and it sold pretty well. These games sold pretty well, so that means a lot of fans got to play it, and there's a lot of fandom behind it, right? And so a lot of fans obviously want Rare or just Microsoft in general to revisit Banjo Kazooie because it was a beloved platforming series. There's also there's also 2 Banjo games on the Game Boy Advance: Banjo Pilot, which is a racing game, and Banjo Kazooie Gruntilda's Revenge, which is a kind of isometric top-down platforming game, adventure game, which is also actually really good too. So there's going to be a lot of fans that came out of that because this franchise sold millions of copies. So a lot of people want that, and these XBOTS just don't understand that. I think there's still a dude bro-ish contingent of Xbox fans that Microsoft has, they've been trying to diversify the fan base, I think, to the chagrin of a lot of the fans. But I think it's to the benefit of the company overall. You want to have a diverse fan base so you can make all kinds of games and all kinds of people will play and love. And for whatever reasons, these I don't know, there's certain contingent of Xbox fans, these bots do not care for Banjo Kazooie at all. Maybe they just affiliate with Nintendo, and Nintendo is gross to them. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is, because in the same breath, these guys will say, "Who wants Banjo? What about Conquer?" And I'm like, Conquer? Like, come on. So Conquer's Bad for a Day was also a game that came out in 2000 for the N64. It's a beloved game. Nintendo famously did not, I don't think they, published this game, and not, at least not in North America. I think Rare published it themselves, but because of the mature game, Nintendo with their family-friendly kind of, their family-friendly image, they didn't want to tarnish it too much. They didn't even the game wasn't even reviewed, I believe, in Nintendo Power, so it got kind of the short end of the stick because it didn't get the kind of marketing that Nintendo would put behind everything else, like they put behind Banjo Kazooie and whatnot. But at the end of the day, Conker's Bad Fur Day is not it's not like a great gameplay game. It has a cool gimmick. It was of its time. It has a kind of toilet humor, potty humor of like something like South Park or whatever at the time, and obviously the the dry British wit that you would expect from Rareware. And it's funny in that aspect, but it's of its time. Like I don't think it would be as funny today. Some of its jokes and whatnot. And at the end of the day, the game itself is not anything special. Like it had these kind of context sensitive, like gameplay where you would, Banjo's ability, or Banjo, look at me, Conker's abilities would change based on the world he was in or the task in front of him. And it was, it was pretty basic. It was nothing special about it. The platforming is nothing special. The game was mostly about the gimmick of its mature potty humor with a cutesy, cuddly mascot character. That was the gist of the game. Because the game actually started off to be a traditional 3D platformer, but even Rare got bored with doing those types of things, and it was in kind of development hell, and they kept trying to come up with new things to do with it. And they just kind of went on and made this way left field thing and hoped that would catch on. So the game, I think it sold on N64 around 350 to 500,000 copies. Not great, not terrible. Did pretty well for, again, like I said, didn't have the marketing behind it. And it was a late N64 game. People were moving on to PS2. People had moved on to Dreamcast and whatnot. And GameCube was right around the corner. So there was all these factors that, helped it not sell as well. But again, at the end of the day, as a guy who loves Rare, a guy who loves 3D platformers, not a fantastic, amazing game. It's just that gimmick was funny and memorable. And I think the reason why XBOTS, certain XBOTS, I think even Destin talked about this, and Destin is an IGN guy who does Xbox stuff, and he was in a podcast. I think I listened to their Unlocked podcast, whatever it is for the Xbox stuff. He was in the podcast and he talked about it. He said, he was annoyed that he saw that a lot of fans wanted Banjo Kazooie. He's like, what's the big deal with Banjo Kazooie? I could see maybe Conker. And I'm like, what do you know about Conker? Like, why would you think Conker is a better game? It's not. It's not a better series. It's not even a series. It's definitely not a better game than Banjo Kazooie, more beloved. This is why. Okay, that right there. That is why these guys care about Conker. Because it has an M rating and they feel less like a kid playing kid games. I don't know. And also the fact that this exists. So this is Conker Live and Reloaded. It says demo, but this is the actual game. I don't know why I have the demo case, but I have the actual game in there, as you can see. Conker Live and Reloaded. That's the full game. And this was a pretty well-liked, especially to the Xbox Live stuff, the multiplayer stuff. Was pretty fun on here, and I think that is the attachment that some Xbox fans have to this. And like I said, the fact that it's mature rated and that it was on Xbox Live at one point, and that's it. It's not about the quality of the games, because like I said, quality-wise, Banjo Kazooie blows Conker Bad Fur Day out of the water. There's obviously more fans who want Banjo Kazooie, because I don't remember there being a Conker in Smash. There's a reason that there's a Banjo Kazooie in Smash, because more fans want Banjo Kazooie. We love Banjo Kazooie. This happened and I cried, because you had to be there. But the character of Banjo Kazooie, that world, the music, all that stuff combined made it a fantastic game series. And these XBOTS just don't understand that, and the only reason they care about Conker because it's M-rated, and it was on Xbox Live at one point, and that's it. So it's disrespectful, like I said, because, like I said, Conker's Bad Fur Day is a fun game. It's a good game of its time, but it doesn't hold the test of time like a Banjo Kazooie is. And here's the thing that I think these bots don't understand. Conker has nowhere really to go. Like, what are you going to do with Conker? I guess you can conceive a new kind of gameplay style for it, because the original gameplay style is not going to work at all today. Whereas 3D platformers are still a thing that work and people like. This could be what is it called? Ratchet and Clank. Ratchet and Clank wouldn't exist, by the way, if it wasn't for Banjo Kazooie. The whole buddy platformer thing, these guys started, guy and gal, I should say, started. So this could be Xbox's or Microsoft Xbox's Ratchet and Clank, because you can actually elevate, or there's a blueprint for how you evolve this game series, how you evolve the gameplay in this game, and that is Ratchet and Clank. This is what you do. Ratchet and Clank got a lot of its ideas, and just the idea of the buddy platformer from Banjo Kazooie. So this has way longer legs than this kind of offbeat gross out comedy. So it just doesn't make any sense, even if you look at it in a business aspect. Banjo Kazooie is the way to go. Stop disrespecting the goats, or some of the goats in platforming, action adventure platforming. Please, just cut it out. We know why you prefer Conquer. It's really lame. It's because it's rated M. That's pretty pathetic. Stop being bots. Stop disrespecting Banjo Kazooie. Alright, that's my video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you agree with my premise of this is why XBOTS care about Conquer over Banjo Kazooie? Because there's no other reason. Banjo Kazooie is a way bigger series, sold millions of more copies. Way more people love it. And here's the thing. You can get some Nintendo fans on your side as well if you release Conquer, or you release Banjo Kazooie. And if you worried about Microsoft, if you worried about what you're gonna do as far as a risk, obviously there's a lot less risk because of Game Pass. But if you're worried about risk, you could also sell that on Switch 2. You can also sell Banjo Kazooie 3E or whatever you want to call it on Switch 2. And you can also do that with Rare Replay as well. So, yeah. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you again for watching and listening. And see you folks next time. Peace out.